What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here, and today we're going to learn about a very, very underrated chord, the minor 7 flat 5 chord. Just speaking the name, minor 7 flat 5, calls to light sophistication and class. So no longer be afraid, because we're going to break it down super easy. Click the link below, because I'm going to tab out and have chord charts for everything we're going to do. It's really easy. There's just going to be 2 chord voicings and a single note arpeggio lead line that we can add and start incorporating into any of your playing right away in the people's 2 favorite keys, the key of C and the key of G, okay? So, what's a minor 7 flat 5 chord? Basically, this is the chord that occurs on the 7th note of any key, all right? Now, even if you don't know how to find the notes of a key, like the notes of the major scale, which I definitely suggest you try to look into, it's really kind of the easiest note to ever find. Like, let's say we're in the key of C, all right? That means C major chord is our go-to guy right there, okay? Our root note being the 3rd fret on the A string, okay? Now, if we want to find the 7th note in this key, instead of going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's an easy way to go through the major scale. Much quicker way to do that is just go backwards 1 fret. So, if you know that you have a major chord in a major key, whatever, your root note, wherever it may be, if you go 1 note below that, 1 fret back, that's going to be the 7th note in that root note's key. So the key of C, the 7th note is going to be the 2nd fret of the A string, which is a B. If you're in the key of G, what's the 7th note away from G? Just go back 1, F sharp. The key of A, G sharp. All you have to do is go down. So, any of these notes can become chords, but usually the chord that is built from this note, the 7th note in the key of C, sounds like that, isn't used a whole lot, because that sound right there doesn't do a whole lot on its own. It kind of sounds unfinished, it sounds unresolved. There's a diminished quality to it. This is the minor 7 flat 5 chord. It's actually a very easy chord to make, which we're going to see in a second. We're also going to talk about the uses that it has within a song, within your own songwriting, within your own playing, okay? So let's learn how to play it first. Really easy. Pointer finger goes on the 2nd fret of the A string. Ring finger goes on the 3rd fret of the D string. Middle finger goes on the 2nd fret of the G string. And your pinky goes on the 3rd fret of the B string, okay? So 2, 3, 2, 3. No bar chords necessary. I'm just playing the middle 4 strings of this chord, all right? Pretty easy. Now, where do we use this chord? Really, I think it sounds great as a transitional element between 2 other chords, all right? So let's take 2 really popular chords in the key of C major, and a lot of different songs that you'll always hear. C major to A minor, okay? Or even the inverse, A minor to C major. However you want to slice it up. I'm sure you've seen these chords in millions, hundreds of millions, billions, trillions of songs, okay? Now, if we start incorporating this chord into your playing, you can use this as a segue in between those chords, which I think is kind of cool. Maybe make your playing a little more flavorful, have some of that minor 7 flat 5-ness. All right, so if we go from a C major chord, we're working our way to A minor chord. In that key, there's 1 note in between those, and it's that B note. So a lot of times what you'll see is maybe like a walk down to an A minor chord, okay? We can actually use the entire chord that we just learned as a representation of that. So C, major, B, A. Or the opposite, A, B minor 7 flat 5, C. Okay, so it really sounds great right before one of those chords, because that C major especially will resolve it. The thing that we don't like about this, like as being an opinion, is that it doesn't have a 5. That's why it's called a minor 7 flat 5. Most chords, any major minor chord, has the 5th of it in there, like a power chord, right? If you just take a C power chord, 3A and 5D, that's the sound of a 1 and a 5. Okay, and that all comes from the major scale. All this stuff comes from the major scale. So if you don't know that, definitely check it out. We've got other videos talking a little bit more about that. But as soon as you take the 5th note and flatten it, flatten just means going back a note, it loses its stability as we kind of hear it, you know, in Western music. So that by itself kind of has an unsettling kind of feel, which maybe that's something you want to incorporate into your own songwriting or playing, some of that kind of unsettled nature. Like metal is something that uses this chord, this, especially that interval, that spacing between a lot. You can kind of use it all over the place, but specifically in a key, it happens on that 7th note, which is why it's always good to go back just 1 fret to find it, all right? So maybe in a bigger progression, let's take a C, F, A minor, C progression. C, F, A minor, C. We can go C, F, A minor. Okay? Especially if you're gonna end a song, right? Like that song just ends, that progression just ends on a C major chord. One thing to do if you're on that C chord a lot is maybe just kind of switch it up real quick. Because it almost kind of creates a little bit of tension and then it's quickly released with the 1 chord in that key, major chord, right? So this is just one example of a chord voicing that you can use, totally movable. So this would be B minor 7 flat 5. Another name for this is half diminished. If you've ever seen a half diminished chord, the exact same thing. C minor 7 flat 5. C sharp minor 7 flat 5. D minor 7 flat 5. That shape can be moved anywhere, all right? Now I want to do an E string rooted version of the same chord. And to help us with this, we're going to switch over to the key of G, all right? So here's a G major chord. Just like that, everybody's favorite, the people's chord, G. Now if you remember, how do you find the 7th note in this key? Back 1, okay? So F sharp, minor 7 flat 5 is what we're going for, all right? So we're going to use our middle finger to use as a root note. But actually, before we do that, let's make an A minor chord, all right? Just like this. Now, I want to make this chord, let's for a second pretend you lost your middle finger in like a bear attack or something like that, all right? We're going to make an A minor chord without your middle finger. So I've got my ring finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, my pinky on the 2nd fret of the G string, my pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B string. Now through you know, modern science, we've had our middle finger reattached, and we're going to put it on the F sharp, the 2nd fret of the low E string. All right, this is an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I'm actually using my middle finger to touch the A string so I can't hear it. All right, so we're kind of skipping that A string, but still just 1 strum, all right? This is gonna be the 7th chord in the key of G. We can use it the same way we did in the key of C, where we went C to B minor 7 flat 5, C. Same thing with the G. Okay, so that's just one way that we can move this shape around now too. And again, it's not a bar chord. It's, you know, it might be a little bit different to kind of put your fingers around in this way, but something that's really going to help you out with a lot of different chord voicings and stuff too. So we've got 2 different voicings that we can use. So now in any key, whenever you see a major chord, specifically the one that you're in the key of, you can always just back it up 1 fret. That gives you the 7th note in that key, and you can slap one of those shapes on it, either the A string rooted one or the low E string rooted one. So we got you covered no matter what song you're in. Just start throwing it in different progressions and kind of see how it works. Now another way we can do this is arpeggiate it, play it 1 note at a time. And that's always a great way to kind of see the notes that are inside of a chord that you're playing in an individualized way in order, okay? What do I mean by that? Let's stick on that F sharp again, okay? So remember, this is the root note of what we did. Now if we went through and just kind of listed out the notes in this chord, we'd have an F sharp, we have the 2nd fret on the D string, which is an E, so F sharp E, the 2nd fret on the G string, which is an A, F sharp, E, A, and a C, okay? Now, those are actually technically a little bit, you know, the order of that is kind of important, but we're skipping strings, stuff like that too. Maybe if we want to do it in a tighter way, we can grab the F sharp here, grab the A here, grab the C here, and then grab the E here, okay? So, just a different way to play those 4 notes, but in an arpeggiated way. So we can go F sharp, 3 frets higher, to A, and then we grab the flat 5, which is at C, which is, again, diagonal down from where we started. There's that flat 5-ness we talked about earlier. 3 frets higher, grab the flat 5 right here. then to the 7th fret on the A string. Alright, now we can put those together. We can play this last note in a different location. Remember the E note that we played earlier on was the 2nd fret of the D string. Maybe that's the way we walk our way into where that chord resolves. Into a G chord, right? You can do these in different spots all over the neck. That's a great way to start incorporating lead playing into whatever it is you're doing. And it's just kind of important to be able to see a chord is like, okay, a root, what's called a minor third, which is always 3 frets higher. A flat 5 from the root is the interval from there. And then a minor 7 from the root, which is always either back 2 frets or down 2 strings, same fret on the lower strings, right? So, just a couple different ideas to start incorporating, making people aware of this, because usually in a key, even myself, I'll say there's 6 main chords in a key, right? In the key of C, we've got the 1 chord, the 2 chord, D minor, the 3 chord, E minor, the 4 chord, F major, the 5 chord, G major, the 6 chord, A minor. A lot of times we just go back to C. But we always skip over that B minor 7 flat 5, or just a B diminished triad even, before we go to C. No more. No excuses. Get that 7th chord in there and just start experimenting to your heart's wildest dreams and desires. And if you have any questions, definitely hit us up in the comment section and we will for sure get back to you. And if you just want to learn more stuff in general, kind of like how I was saying, you want to kind of get some of these building blocks down, make sure to click these other links around me because we got a ton of videos on this channel, which is why you're subscribed to check out myself, other great instructors. Anything you guys need, we got it. If we don't have it, leave it in the comment section below and we will try to get it for you. And I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.